There are things, though, that people say every day, even if not out loud to themselves, they really hurt their ability to win in the business.
It's really a big problem that, like you said, people don't even realize they're doing it.
They speak their own failure, and then they can't figure out why life's so hard, why business is so hard.
Yep.
We had everything going against us.
Yeah, we were young. We were broke. We didn't know anything about business. We literally started from nothing.
We were never supposed to make it.
Today we're talking about things that you need to stop saying. And there's a lot of them, but we've narrowed it down to about 15. And we're just going to...
We've narrowed it down to 15.
But there was probably 100 plus. So these are the basic ones, I think, that even if you're not in business, you can, adapt and get rid of from your vocabulary and your inner monologue.
What took the longest was deleting 85 of them.
Yes, yeah, that took a long time. But I want to start off with the first one, which is telling yourself that you're introverted. And I'll say this one hits home for me because my whole entire life, people were like, oh, she's shy, she's introverted. And then when I became an adult, I realized that being, enjoying your own time, liking to read, and keeping a small group of friends is not being introverted. It's just your preference. So it was a label that I accepted onto myself, which in the long run made me cut out a lot of opportunities because I was like, oh, I'm shy. I could never do that.
The problem with all those labels is that then we automatically buy into them, right? And then we come into business or we do anything and someone tells you, go network and prospect and meet new people, and automatically the default setting in your head is, well, I'm introverted. Like I'm not outgoing. I'm not good at talking to strangers. I don't know how to, and all these things that every time we say them again, like everything on this list, you guys, every time you say these things, or not even out loud, but you think them, you automatically reinforce them, whether they're true or not. They become true because you start to see yourself that way.
That's exactly right. And I think I've probably told myself that I'm shy over 1 million times in my lifetime. Well, I stopped doing that once, I got into business and I learned how to self-develop. But it's the things that you say to yourself that become your reality.
Yeah, so these things are things you need to stop saying. I'm introverted, especially. By the way, being introverted is not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, I have a book here on my list of books that I'm going to read. Let me see if I could find it, because it just reminds me of it. And if you're saying these things to yourself, then this is a book that you should probably read. Oh, shoot. I don't know where it is, but it's called, let's see here.
I read it. It was good.
Oh, it's called Quiet by Susan Cain, and it says The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking. I think we mentioned it in another episode before.
I think so. It's just really good.
And it's, if you're going to say something that is positive, something that lifts you up, right? So I'm introverted, definitely not the thing to say, because it's going to be you justifying and reinforcing why you are all alone and you don't have anybody in business with you, or you have a very small number of associations and people around you, and it's just not going to help you at all. And you should toss it out and go with something that's more uplifting and something more beneficial.
Amen.
What's next?
All right.
It's hard.
See.
Number 2, it's hard. Saying it's hard. Now, what if it is hard? What if it's like what you're doing really legitimately is hard?
It's challenging. You can reframe the way that you say things, or I just haven't learned it. I just haven't become a master at it yet.
Yep.
Versus saying that it's hard.
Yeah, or taking it's hard and making it a good thing. This is super, super hard, and it's going to be a really big victory. It's going to be something I get really good at. But all these little things, like it's hard, people, first of all, only say that when they're not doing well.
Yes.
You know, when they're not doing well, they start to say things like, oh, this is so hard. Oh, I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if this is for me. And you wouldn't be saying that if you were kicking butt.
Exactly. It's just another one of those things that you want to cut out.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt you. Another one, it doesn't work, or this doesn't work.
It doesn't work, or I'm trying.
Oh gosh, I'm trying. Yeah,
Those are two of them.
I'm trying is the worst.
It's a cop out.
Yeah.
It's you saying I'm making an attempt and it's not work. It's saying I'm not working, just in a different way.
And again, it reinforces the fact that you're not doing well, right? And then you start to make excuses and justifications and softeners for why you're not doing well. All of these things come out of the mouths of people that are losing and are not where they want to be yet. And so these are all really bad affirmations that we don't even realize we're being negative, and we don't necessarily even realize that we are making success harder on ourselves. But things like I'm trying, typically you're not trying, right, when you say that.
Yes.
Because if you were, you wouldn't have to say it. And secondly, again, it goes back to the fact that, well, you know, it just doesn't work for me, you know.
There's so much finality in that.
Right, yeah.
Which is the problem. It just doesn't work for me. Versus I am trying to find what works for me is a better way of phrasing it.
Yeah, you could say the same thing and make it a positive thing. Here's another one, number 5. This is a really big one, especially when you're in business and you have an empty calendar and you have no teammates and you have no clients and you have no appointments and you have no cash flow and you're not making money, you're not winning. And you go to your coach, or to yourself, I've talked to everyone.
I think this one's obvious.
Yeah, like who the hell is everyone?
It's just impossible. What you're saying is impossible, and you're just closing your mind, your mouth, and everything to the possibility that there's other people out there for you to connect with.
Yeah, that's exactly the biggest thing, is that you closed off the creativity side of your mind that can go find more resources, but your mind doesn't know that what you're saying is not true, right? And so you start to believe your own bullshit, and you're, I've just talked to everybody, and just nobody wants to. All these generalities and general statements that just shrink you down to nothing. They're paralyzing, and they don't even feel good when you say them. You know, if you were to go down this list and start reading them off to yourself, it just gives you this ugly loser-ish feeling, and it doesn't even feel good. So I've talked to everyone, you know, in a world that is endless of people.
You never run out.
And endless avenues of people, right? Hey, you can never run out. And it's a very negative freaking thing to say. Let's see another one. I'm not a recruiter. Oh, I'm not a recruiter.
Or I'm
not good at
I'm not a
recruiting.
salesman.
I'm not a salesman. Yeah, that's the next one on the list. I'm not a recruiter. I'm not a salesman. You know, I'm not a people person.
That one's the hardest one, I think, for me in my head, because, again, you are just saying that you don't get along with people, and you're a people. You know, you're a person.
Right. Yeah, to say things like I'm not a recruiter, I'm not a salesman, I'm not a people person. We'll start with I'm not a recruiter one. I do believe that some people, when they come into any business, you grow up. Whether it's childhood experiences, whether it's the things that your parents told you as a kid, whether it's relationships that you had that were influential around you. I think some people come into business and they are naturally very good at one of the two sides of a business, right? Which is they're either very good at networking and recruiting and building teams and infrastructures, or they're very good at products and learning and sales and closing and making money. But sometimes you're good at both, and it's typically that you like one more than the other. It's not that you're not a salesman. It's just that maybe you have never enjoyed sales yet, or you've never sold something you were really passionate about and you believed in. Or it's not that you're not a recruiter. Maybe it's just that you've never been in a recruiting position before and you haven't learned the skill of it yet, and maybe you don't believe what you're recruiting into enough, or you haven't had the right training. But the reality is that to say in a blanket statement that I'm not this, when that this thing would be beneficial for you to be that thing, like, is a very, very bad affirmation.
And by the way, just because you tried something once or twice or even 10 times does not mean that you are not good at it.
Right.
Anything is going to take effort. So whether it's sales or recruiting or just communicating with people and making friends, it's something that you have to perfect and just get better at. And those are the best things. The ones that you work on, the ones that come easy, it's just the skills, the talents that just come easy. I mean, you kind of take them for granted. But the things that you have to learn and work on and perfect, those are the ones that really make yourself proud.
Right, because everyone comes into, like when you're in a competitive world, like a business, everybody comes into the business good at something. You know, just like in the NBA, everyone who gets to the NBA would destroy the best player at the park. You know, even the guys that never get playing time. And so everyone's good at something when they get in business. And if you could find the things that you don't necessarily enjoy naturally and then get really good at those things, that's what makes you better than your competition. And so when I came in business, I naturally loved recruiting from the very, very beginning. I was a great recruiter. I had 10 directs my first month. I had like 26 between my first 4 months. And I was really good at it, and I loved it. It was like my favorite part of the business, still is to this day. And I had this arrangement where I was like, all right, Dad, you're going to sit with clients, and I'm going to recruit agents. And then when I told Ronnie that, she's like, what the hell is wrong with you? That's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. You know, and she's like, no, you're going to get good at everything if you're going to do it. And I was like, fine. So then I sat down, I got the brochures, and I started reading how the products worked. I got the software, and I started playing with it and learning it. And that's what's made us very, very successful, is that we were good at everything. And so to say I'm not a salesman, I'm not a recruiter, I'm not a people person, I'm not outgoing, all these things, you need to become at least decent at the things that you're not naturally good at if you want to be very, very good at anything. Is you got to strengthen your weaknesses and then really capitalize on your natural strengths.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's dead on.
I'm not competitive. I mean, maybe you're not. It's not to say that any of these things that you're saying are not true, but it's the fact that does it serve you and does it help you to continue saying it and believing it?
Maybe you've just never had the opportunity to be competitive.
Yeah, maybe you sucked at sports.
Or you never played sports.
Yeah, and so like, you know, you weren't competing for the highest test score in school, maybe. And so like competition's not something you're familiar with.
Mm-hmm. Or enjoy because you just never done it.
Yeah.
So business is one area of life where it doesn't matter if you're an athlete or not, you can find a way to be competitive. Because not being competitive is you saying that you don't enjoy winning. I think.
Yeah. Or you're just scared of competition, you know, because you don't think you're going to win. But I will tell you that the people who are the most successful in anything do have an element of competitiveness to them. From Microsoft competing with Apple and Nike competing with Adidas and you competing with another entrepreneur in your space. The summary, and I'm going to keep saying it intentionally, the summary from top to bottom on this list is that whether this statement is true or false, does it help you and does it make you better to believe that? Or would you be better off challenging that belief and trying to have a more uplifting, confidence-building affirmation instead, right? Mm-hmm. Because if I lived my life saying the stuff on this list, I would be terrible at everything that we do, and I would have no confidence. And so it's far more beneficial to be competitive.
Build it up like a muscle. Start being competitive in little areas and build it up, and you'll find out that it's actually really enjoyable.
Yeah, because when you say I'm not competitive, I'm not a people person, you're justifying you doing zero in this department, right? You're saying it's okay for you to compete zero. I mean, it's okay for you to recruit no one. It's okay for you to sell nothing. right? Because of this, these justifications that are just not, it's just not okay. Because it's not okay to lose. So you got to win anyway, as the title of the podcast is. I don't like social media.
I get this one because sometimes social media overload, I think that's a real thing. I think sometimes it can make you feel disconnected and you just kind of become a zombie. It's your coping mechanism. You do it whenever you're bored. I get all that stuff and I agree with that. But if you have a business that could benefit from social media, that's a tool you should use for the good. And you can still, leave out all the bad stuff.
Yeah. Yep, 100%. Also, I think one of the reasons I've done well in business is I don't have to like something to do it. Mm-hmm. So just like people go, a protein shake is disgusting. I'm like, well, I don't have to like it to drink it. Mm-hmm. That's not what I'm drinking it for. If I want to drink something that tastes great, I'm going to go get a milkshake. I'm not going to go get a protein shake. I don't have to like the workout to do it. I don't have to like prospecting to prospect. And I sure as hell don't have to like the stuff that makes me money as long as it makes me money, right? So whether you like it or not doesn't freaking matter. What matters is, does it benefit me more to like it, or does it benefit me more to not like it? Does it benefit me more to not do it just because I don't like it, or am I going to thank myself later for doing it anyway? And I think that's the thing that really matters the most. How about this one? I don't have time.
And along that line, I'm too busy. I don't have time and I'm too busy.
Yeah. And that might be true.
I always think it's a scheduling issue. Number one is a scheduling issue. Number two is a priority issue. So you deciding what are the most important things that need to get done in a day, and you making that the priority and scheduling in everything else.
It was bound to happen.
What was that for?
I don't know where it came from.
What was that supposed to do?
I think it clips the cord.
Oh, well,
now I have an unclipped cord. No worries. Yeah, it's a scheduling issue, 100%. There is someone more busy who still goes to the gym. There's someone more busy who still wins in business. There's someone more busy. It's a matter of just calendaring it and valuing every opportunity in the day. And I'm too busy. Also, I would challenge you to look at what it is you're trying to accomplish and decide whether or not you can afford to be too busy. Because some of us go, I'm too busy, so I can't do the business, but you're freaking broke. And so you're so busy doing things that leave you broke. Like, how do you have no time and no money? How do you have no free time and no free savings? How do you have no time and still have no team, and have no time and still be so miserable, and have no time and still be out of shape, and have no time and still be unhappy? Like, that doesn't even make sense. What the hell are you spending all your time doing?
If you don't break that cycle, you will always be broke. You will always be in that 100%. Same situation. Nothing is going to change just because you're, waiting it out.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like, you're going to die someday, broke, unhappy, with no time. It's like, how the heck how did you manage to fill your entire day and still have nothing that you want?
That's a good question.
That was pretty damn good.
Yeah, that was good.
Think about it. I'm going to remember that for my next recruiting appointment.
Okay.
I'll write that down now.
Up next is I don't have a market and I don't have support, which is, they're similar but different things. So I don't have a market means if you're in business, you're in sales or whatnot, you feel like you don't have anyone to sit down with and talk about what you're doing. And by the way, you don't have to have a market.
Right.
I
agree with that.
You don't have to have a market in order to succeed. Because again, back to the people thing, there's a million people, or not a million, like billions of people in this world. And you have definitely not met all of them. And you've probably only talked to a handful of them.
But could you imagine being so ignorant that you would say, oh, I'm not a people person, and then turn around and say, and I'm losing because I don't have a market? Like, Well,
You
damn,
have
dude,
the
you
power
can't-
to change that.
You can't have it all. You can't have all the negative shit and expect. So if you're not a people person, you better have a damn market if you're going to believe that. And if you don't have a damn market, then you better start believing you're a people person and you could create one. But you can't have two things that are going to kill you. Like you got to pick and choose, right? I would rather say, even if I'm not, I'd rather go, I'm a freaking people person. Everybody loves me. Everyone wants to be on my team. Everyone wants to be my client. Especially if I'm just saying my affirmations, I'm going to try to trick my ass into believing that shit. You know, now, if you don't have a market, that's fine. That's fine. In fact, saying I don't have a market, if that's factual, that's factual. But you better go create one. So you better start telling yourself things that are positive and going to help you. So you better add on to that sentence. I don't have a market, but I'm making one. I don't have a market, but I'm good at creating one. I don't have a market, but I'm good at finding one. You know what I mean? And the things that are uplifting and that tell your mind when you go to bed at night, you're thinking about how you can win here. And you're thinking about why you're going to win here because I got this whole list of things I'm good at versus everything's going against me. I don't have support.
The exact same thing. You don't need one. You want it.
Right.
You want the support of your friends and family, but you don't need it. You can also, just like the market, create one. Create a support system of people like you who are trying to hit goals, trying to do something different, trying to change your life, people who are going to encourage you and support you. And they don't have to be your current family or your current friends.
Right.
Because waiting for other people to change before you succeed is just going to leave you trapped and miserable.
Right. I don't have support, but I don't need support. See, you could add on to it. I'm introverted, but I'm good at networking. It's hard, but I'm good at it. It doesn't work, but I'm going to make it work. I'm trying and it's going to happen. You know, like the problem is we leave everything negative and then we walk around and go, I don't have support. And we say it as an excuse. So what? I say, I didn't have any support. One of the things I brag about the most to this day is I didn't have any support and I made it anyways. I didn't have any support, but I won anyway. I didn't have any support, but I found clientele anyway. I didn't have any support, but I found teammates that supported me, you know? And so it's a very easy thing to decide I'm no longer going to victimize myself because that's really what you're doing when you believe all this short-ended stuff about I'm trying, I talk to everyone, no one supports me, I'm too busy, I don't have time. It's all these reasons that make you the unfortunate, victim of the business versus finding ways to empower yourself. Last one, I'm not on a winning team or I'm not in a winning office or my team sucks or my coach sucks or my coach is retired or my office is lame or I want to be in tenacity or I want to transfer to da-da-da-da. All this crap that people say every day about why they don't make it. My coach doesn't pay attention to me. My team's not good. My coach didn't walk the stage. My coach doesn't like Zoom. He says social media sucks. All this kind of crap that we talk and we say these are the reasons why we're not winning.
That's again the victim mentality.
The victim mentality.
I can't speak today, and you're apparently breaking things. So the victim mentality, it goes back to that again. You're just looking for things outside of your control to blame. You're just not focusing on the things that you can. And all these things, to some degree, have a lot to do with control. And you taking control of your actions, your mindset, and your future.
Yeah. Check this out. How about if this is how you started talking to yourself? Because this is what I say when teammates tell me these things. They go, well, I'm not a people person. I say, but what if you could be? Just imagine, what if you could be? Oh, I'm not good at sales, but what if you could be? I'm not a good recruiter. Okay. But what if you could be? And that's the ultimate question is what if you could be a people person? What if you could be more outgoing? What if you could be better at doing things that are hard? What if you could be better at making this work? What if you could be better at trying harder? What if you could be better at talking to more people? The antidote to this small belief system is asking a question. Hey, maybe the thing I'm saying right now, I believe it to be true. But what if I could be the opposite of this? Because you can. Anybody can learn how to do any of these things. And there are books that will teach you. You know, you just got to Google and read and study on the things you're trying to get better at. How to be more outgoing, how to be a better recruiter, how to be a better people person, how to be better at sales, how to be, how to be more positive, how to be more energized, how to be more excited. You could type any of those things into Google or YouTube or Amazon and find a book or a video or an article that will teach you. A podcast, something, right?
Unlimited resources.
I could show you introverts in business that are making $500,000 a year or more.
In fact, most of them
A lot of them are, yeah. I could show you people that started off believing they weren't competitive that are crushing it in competition. I could show you people that aren't great public speakers or salesmen, but they're killing it in sales. And you don't have to be a great public speaker, because when you're winning, people want to hear what you have to say, whether you're a great speaker or not. And so all of it's bullshit. But you have to change the self-talk and the dialogue in your own head.
So start today.
Start today. Wow. There we go.
Yeah.
Call now to start today.
$9.99 and free shipping.
Good stuff.
Yes, so hopefully you took notes and start paying attention to what you're saying to yourself and out loud, and just make an immediate change. These are one of the, all this are things you can change right now.
What's going on?
I don't know.
That was a great episode, though.
Yeah, I think so.
Sweet, you guys. We appreciate all your support and in your sharing. And I think this is an episode that everyone could benefit from, as well as our teammates. So anyone you share it with, we always appreciate messages from people that got a lot out of the episode.
All right. Thank you. Bye.